Alright guys, Scrappy again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Further theories as to what's going on with this FormaL CDL rostermania period this off-season after the Esports World Cup, because Hex and Scump have now responded to the situation where FormaL was approached by Nadeshot, potentially courted by Nadeshot, to try and join Los Angeles Thieves for next season. Yes, the general feeling from OpTic is this probably isn't happening, but Scump can't absolutely rule out the possibility that FormaL is at least considering the opportunity. Very much into your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new, as always. I greatly appreciate it. Plenty to talk about today. Firstly, the rings finally arrived. You guys might have seen this at the World Championship, of course, the documentary that, well, Classics and Simp put together on all of these old school legends collecting their national championship ring. So I think Doug Martin kind of led up this project in some sense, and effectively this is because before the Call of Duty World Championship existed from 2013, effectively Champs was called, you know, Nationals in the years preceding that, and many absolute legend of the scene won this. So it's not like, you know, an official world championship. These guys, you know, are never quite going to go down as world champions, but they did come up with this project where they would get their championship rings for being the champions of those seasons, although it wasn't technically champs. So anyway, this is Doug's one. I thought it was absolute fire. Of course, he was on, yeah, Next Threat, as it was when they won the national championship back in Black Ops 1. It even says Doug Martin on the insider. I think it was Quantic Next Threat, wasn't it? The team was technically known as back then, and then, you know, Quantic Leverage was around at a similar time. It was a wild time like the Call of Duty. Another big update, though, on the day on what might be happening with the Seattle Surge. So you guys are well aware that New York Subliners are, well, basically now Cloud9. But what does that mean for next year's Call of Duty League? Because as it stands, the team names are still having to be associated with a city, right? It's still a geolocation, location-based league. So the New York Subliners, there's been rumors that they're going to call it like the New York Cloud9 or something horrible, but whatever, that might be what they decide to do. I don't know when or if ever the Call of Duty League is going to get rid of the city-based stuff. My feeling is they can do it, but not every team has to change their name. I mean, if you look at the pre-CDL era, there were teams such as the Pittsburgh Knights that existed. Now that organization has kind of become like a tournament organizer, but the Pittsburgh Knights used to be an esports org. They used to have a team, I think even Parasite and maybe Theory, players like that, were on their team back in Black Ops 4, and they played against, you know, OpTic Gaming, FaZe Clan or whatever, and it wasn't really deemed to be a problem. It's like, okay, this organization's based out of this city or this area, cool, that's fine. Does that mean that we can't have OpTic Gaming? I don't know, not necessarily. Is there a massive problem having OpTic Gaming play Toronto Ultra? You know, I don't really think so. An OpTic, even if they are OpTic Gaming, they still might, you know, they're still going to have a base somewhere. They're still going to be based in some city, whether it's Dallas, whether it's back in Chicago, whatever the case is. So my feeling is that at some point the league will probably say, all right, we don't need the city thing anymore, especially because the franchising era has not come to an end precisely, but they're effectively getting rid of it, right? They've refunded the payments. So, you know, what are the spots even worth anymore? How do you get rid of it? Things are changing a lot going into the 2025 Call of Duty League season. We don't really know what that looks like, but I will say that I expect at some points the city-based stuff to kind of go away. Certainly Hex will be pushing for that because he's made it very clear he would much prefer OpTic Gaming to be the sole brand rather than OpTic Texas or OpTic Chicago or even Chicago Huntsman as they previously were over the last few years. So what does that mean for New York? Can they just become Cloud9 or can they not? And for Seattle Surge, can they become something else? Because as you guys can tell, they are connected to Luminosity Gaming. Of course, you know, big esports organization. They were around in Call of Duty for many a year, and they have been, you know, Enthusiast Gaming, Seattle Surge. It's all kind of part of the same umbrella. So what's then interesting here is that Surge tweet this out and say, out with the old, and we can see, you know, a kind of dog tag here with Surge on it. Now, it doesn't say Seattle on it, which I thought was interesting because you guys might remember last year, there were rumors that Seattle were going to move to Vancouver, right? They were going to relocate to that city, and that was going to be the plan. That never happened in the end, and therefore I was wondering, okay, is that going to happen this year? Is it going to become the Vancouver Surge or something this season? Not really sure what the end goal is there, but this dog tag does not say Seattle, it says Surge, and as they say, out with the old, it kind of implies it's the Surge branding that's going to go, maybe not the Seattle side, maybe including the Seattle side, who knows. But what is this actually going to look like, right? Because that sounds like a potential Surge rebrand, and given what's happened with New York and Cloud9, they're effectively becoming one thing, and for the World Cup, it's just going to be Cloud9. There's going to be no reference, apart from, I'm sure that commentators will talk about the fact that they're the Subliners team that came second at Champs, but it's just going to be Cloud9 at the World Cup, and I imagine a similar plan is going to be had here for Seattle at some point, maybe not for the World Cup immediately, because I think they're still representing Seattle Surge at the World Cup, but they could maybe have represented Luminosity Gaming or something, and maybe next year in COD, Seattle are going to go back to being Luminosity. Does it still have to be like Seattle, LG, Seattle, Luminosity? It's just awkward, isn't it? I still don't like it. So whether this is World Cup related or not, as the new Cloud9 thing is, it's surely going to be relevant to some degree for next year's CDL season as well. So intrigued to your kind of predictions in the comments below on what you think that's all about. But let's talk about this situation going on at OpTic Gaming right now, because FormaL is playing the Halo World Championship with OpTic in a couple of months' time, and shortly after that, the new Call of Duty launches, and then there are questions where he's going to go, if anywhere. Is he going to keep playing Halo? He's heavily hinted that he's probably going to be done with it, and therefore there's been talk about, well, Black Ops 6, potentially a pretty damn good title. Treyarch have had a long time to work on it. FormaL obviously is at least going to be thinking about a return, and NadeShot made it very clear on stream the other day that, yeah, FormaL, if you want to come back, I'll give you the keys to the kingdom. You can have all the money, you can make all the roster decisions, and that's the plan. Now, Hex, of course, is listening to this saying, oh, come on, that's my boy Nade. Like, he's kind of trying to interfere with our contract situation here. He's trying to finesse FormaL out of his deal, whatever. Is he interfering to some degree in these relationships? But also just giving a general perspective, because, you know, with OpTic, and as kind of Scump goes on to say, if FormaL wants to go and wants to leave and wants to explore this opportunity, are OpTic really going to hold in there against his will? Maybe, but, you know, quite possibly not. I don't think that's the way that OpTic typically deal with these relationships, right? I remember when Arcetes was on Chicago Huntsman and he was wanting to leave to FaZe, they didn't have to let him leave to FaZe, but they did, and, well, the rest is history, right? Next season, of course, was not great for OpTic as a result, so maybe they'll learn from their mistakes, if you want to call it a mistake, or more than likely, if FormaL really wants to go, that's probably how it would go. But does he actually want to go? And this is the question that Scump and Hex and the other guys are discussing. And even Maniac, I thought, said something quite interesting, because he knows FormaL, he knows how FormaL operates. And I thought it was interesting when he said that as soon as NadeShot made the comment, FormaL definitely would have been thinking about it, right? Because that's the way that FormaL, you know, operates. Historically, he has been a bit of a schemer in the esports scene. You know, a bit of a chess player, right? He sees the pieces as they're moving around the board and he thinks, okay, you know, what is my most optimal move in this situation? That's just the way that FormaL naturally has always been. So there's no doubt in my mind, or seemingly in Maniac's mind, that at least this possibility will have run through FormaL's brain as an actual thought process. Whether that's actually going to happen is another question, and Scump kind of, you know, can't rule out the possibility entirely.
I wanted to talk a little bit about this FormaL back to Call of Duty and NadeShot flagrantly.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Let's throw a flag on the play. I'm gonna.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's like this guy's like trying to recruit Matt, telling he's gonna give him the keys to the kingdom and shit. I was like,
that's easy to say.
Yeah, that's easy to say.
Real easy to say.
Why do you say
Give
that?
him the keys to the kingdom. I mean, that means 7-figure contract, fucking
No.
keys to the kingdom.
No, they can't do that.
NadeShot.
That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Put that shit where your mouth is. You want him?
Her FormaL would be.
Yeah, I'm like, what's up? I'm like, I approached him yesterday. It's in the vlog. I'm like, what's up? Why are you flirting with NadeShot? He's like, dude, I was just flirting. And I was like,
Nah,
nah. I'm like, I know you. He's like, get on a loaner and shit. And Matt thinks because he's on his way down here that he can just fucking pick and choose shit. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what's up, Matt? I mean, what's up, Matt? It's both of you motherfuckers. I fucking pressed FormaL. I was like, what's up with that, man? He's like, he didn't really say much. And then I pressed Matt, and I was like, bro, you can't take FormaL, right?
Be poaching this shit.
Yeah, you can't.
He's under contract. That's tortious interference.
And I was saying he's not leaving, and everyone was like, you're gonna
hold him back.
Yeah, you're gonna hold your friend back from his career. It's like, you bet your sweet ass.
Yeah, let's send FormaL out there to contend against us.
Fucking dog.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Is he leaving?
Probably. You know, we'll see. Nade has
FormaL
to write.
does
Nade,
what
listen,
wants.
Nade will have to write me a personal check from his pocket.
Oh,
I won't be mad at you.
How long do you think it will take FormaL to go back to form, if at all? I think it'll take him like
In COD?
1 full month.
yeah, I'd say a month.
Yeah, 1
If
full
he starts
month.
game drop, yeah, it'd be
it's-
quick.
That's the thing with COD. Like, as long as you don't get behind of the current game, like all the players can like
Interesting.
get back to that level or close to it. It's like you just can't get behind. Like you can't take the whole first month off and then come in and expect. You could still probably catch up, but like these people have a month playtime ahead of you. They just understand things better and faster. So it's like if he started at the start, I think he'd be fine like after the first month. Like before Scrim started, he'd be back and like he'd have his brain rewired to like understand.
He would treat it like how he did Halo Infinite. That shit dropped. That's all he did. That was 24. That was his 24/7 job. Was sitting right here
Yeah.
and playing Halo Infinite. He's in the 4 a.m. Not Skype. He's in the 4 a.m. Discord calls.
TeamSpeak.
He's playing Money 8s. Like, he's going to be game battles, whatever is going on. Like, he will.
Yeah, game battles is no more.
Especially brand new game.
The other interesting thing about this situation is that there's just been, further discussion and reaction from other individuals. Now, I know that Ghosty has said a lot to a lot of people, obviously, over the last few days, but it is interesting, obviously, as Scump says. I asked him about it, he didn't really say much. Maybe that says something, right? The fact that Scump was like, hey, Matt, like, what's going on? Are you going to Thieves? Like, is these conversations for real? Like, are you coming back to COD, but not for OpTic? Because obviously OpTic, they're going to change to their Call of Duty team. So if FormaL does want to come back, it's got to be elsewhere. And Scump said that FormaL told him, well, nah, don't worry about it, Seth, like, there ain't anything going on. And Scump's like, I know your game, you're not going to tell much to me. It means that there's some sort of thoughts going through your mind. But what I was saying on Ghosty was that, he drops the reply, a pretty funny one to be fair, live Ghosty reaction. But still, Ghosty in replies to OpTic, talking about FormaL, talking about HyDra. Now, I know, Ghosty knows what he's doing here. He's just having a bit of a laugh. But at the end of the day, is Ghosty sitting there thinking, well, if FormaL was to come through, also FormaL in that original clip when Nadeshot said, yeah, Ghosty's pretty nice. The other guys might make a change for, so I'm sure that Ghosty feels like, yeah, okay, this guy, Matty FormaL Piper, best ever controller player in the history of esports. Maybe you could even argue Shotzzy now, but, I'd probably still say FormaL for the time being anyway. He rates me highly, potentially he wants to join Thieves, Nadeshot wants to make an happen. So it's interesting, isn't it, right? Because OpTic, they're not shutting this down completely and saying, oh no, FormaL told me in private, it's no big deal, nothing to worry about. Scump saying, oh, well, you can't rule the situation out. So very interesting situation. As I've said before, if FormaL is going to make this decision, he's got to make this decision relatively quickly, right? Because the Halo Championship Series continues beyond the end of the Esports World Cup and over the next couple of months. But after the Esports World Cup in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, then all the teams are going to make changes, right? Like Thieves probably are going to go to the Riyadh World Cup. They're going to probably do quite well because they've looked good. Certainly at Champs, they looked good. Came top 4 in the end. But let's say they, come top 4 again or top 8 or something, because it's not double eliminations. There's no top 6. It's top 8, top 4 grand finals, or win the entire thing. Let's say Thieves come top 4 even. Is that good enough to, merit sticking out the team? Probably not. I mean, if you're Thieves, you might have more money to spend this season. You're obviously thinking about trying to upgrade the team. We've talked about Slasher. We've talked about other possibilities in that AR role if you want to make a change over there. Obviously, Attach maybe is even a name that you might want to consider as well in that situation. But FormaL would certainly be probably right at the top of the list if this was to be the case. And if Thieves are trying to upgrade, and if FormaL's interested, then sure, they might have a reliable way to make that situation work. As I say, though, the issue is they're going to have to make those decisions quite quickly, because if FormaL says, look, Nadeshot, I need a couple of months to decide, then Nadeshot can't be like, oh, don't worry, we'll wait for you, while all the other top talent gets hoovered up around the league. Like, they can't do that, right? So if FormaL wants to make it happen, he's got to make it happen, I would say, in the relatively near future. But very much interested your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.